Hey friends, my name is Kyle, and we are so excited to welcome you once again to the Margins podcast. And today we are in a different series where we are on the margins of the one project. And so it's Margins on the Margins. You see what I did there, Icky?
Yes.
You like that. But we're not just here on the margins of the one project so that you can see it, but we want you to understand really what the heart of the one project is and also the people behind it. And so today we're going to be wrestling with some of their questions basically around their sermons. What are they preaching on? What's the text they're using? And kind of hearing not only where they're going, but what they want people to take away from that. But before we get into that, who are you guys? Tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself. Let's start over here.
That's me, right? Okay, yeah.
Tell us your name, Sam.
My name is Sam Leonor. And that's who I am.
What's one thing we need to know about you?
Okay, so I'd like to say a couple of things. Since here
he was so prepared.
I came ready. There are two things that have been in question about me this entire, I don't know why at this one project this has been a question. Number one, I am a pastor. Okay, so everyone keeps asking me, no, you're not a pastor anymore. What are you doing? I am a credentialed, ordained minister of the gospel in the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes.
Okay, just because I'm doing something in administration and healthcare, whatever, does not mean that I'm no longer a pastor. I am a pastor, number one. Number two, because someone yesterday said that I do not speak Spanish.
Ooh.
English is my second language.
Come on now.
Man. Okay.
You cannot detect an accent.
They said you don't speak Spanish?
They said, we heard you don't really speak Spanish. I'm like, what is... That's actually, that's insulting.
It is.
Man.
Given that, huh?
We heard.
That's just like
I'd like to know if you find out.
But that's also like a weird flex to be like, I know that you don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, why would you approach it? How do you know, right?
I had a conversation started.
Yeah, exactly.
We know,
It's a
Sam.
weird flex.
San Leonor is so Hispanic immigrant.
Careful.
Careful. That he knows the heritage singer songs. That's how you know you come from an immigrant home.
Oh.
Am I lying?
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
To be honest,
Right.
my family is
so right.
Italian, and they bumped the Heritage Singers.
Yeah, but were they immigrant Italians?
They were. They were.
Clarification is important.
Yeah. It's true. It's something about our roots, brother.
I don't know why, Icky, when you said that, Ben gave me a little look on the down low. Because my family did bump the Heritage Singers as well. My family came from the Caribbean.
Are you immigrant family?
Yes, sir.
What about yours, Ben? Immigrant family? Did they
Straight from
you know the
Ghana.
heritage? Hey,
Yes.
Hey.
Can you be my
Praise the Lord.
friend? Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Sam,
Kayla, are you
Yes.
immigrant family?
Half and half. My dad's Puerto Rican and my mom's African. Yeah.
Oh,
Family.
shoot, ma'am.
Yeah.
I knew it. I
You felt
it.
it.
I felt it.
Yeah.
Did y'all listen to Heritage Singers?
Nah, we listen to what my mom listens to. So, Kirk, Frankel, and the rest of them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
much love to the Heritage Singers if you're watching the Margins. But
I'm
yeah,
dead.
thank you for clearing the record up, Sam.
Yeah. Hey, happy to do so. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
hearing
Sam,
me.
that was good, man. That was
I
good.
felt affirmed. I felt heard.
We needed that. Was that healing too?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
good, good.
Deeply.
Healing happens at the one project.
Amen. brother.
Amen.
Icky, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Icky Taimi, and I'm currently the lead pastor of the Last University Church, but I have been a lifetime fan in the big fan club of San Leonor.
Please stop with the
I've,
same
I
please.
love that.
Is the
Listen,
Facebook
I'm a
page
fan.
still there? Is the
Yeah,
likable
yeah.
Facebook page?
It's still there.
Okay.
I'm the president and chair.
I love that.
And honestly, though, I get to put this out publicly because Sam and I are in the same space right now. Sam is absolutely one of my favorite people in the world.
Okay, well-
Superheroes. Heroes.
And this is not the mutual admiration or affection club,
here
but
we go.
for real, Icky's my favorite. But here's how you know that Icky's the real deal. I have children who are now young adults. If you ask them who their favorite preacher is, it's you, Icky. You know that.
Wow.
Sam's lying.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I mean,
That's-
in their
bro,
world.
you're too
Why do
kind.
you have to talk so much, Dad? Why don't you let Icky do some of the preaching?
Oh, you're way too kind, man. Thank you, Sam. I love you,
beautiful.
man.
That's really beautiful.
And Kyle, my kids call you mom. Do you know why that is?
Wait, what?
Wait.
Yes.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
I don't
don't know why?
Can you I have no
You don't know
idea.
There was a one project. I led Gen 1 for a couple of years, but one year I was like in charge of Gen 1, and you were speaking like 3 times at the gathering, and your wife wasn't able to be there, and you looked at me and you said, "Brother, my kids are going to be
You're kidding
in
me.
Gen 1." And no, but you just said, "My kids are going to be in Gen 1. Can you just make sure they're okay?" And They were fine. You were being a good father. You called me multiple times over the weekend. You were not being absent. But they referred to me as mom because you
stepped in.
I stepped in. That's all. I think. I mean, they can correct me, but I believe that kind of the narrative was like, we'll just call you mom, because you're, pick us up a sandwich, whatever. But I love your kids. You guys
Favorite
are awesome.
preacher, mom, and Anthony over here studied for baptism with my son, so he prepared my boy for baptism.
Yeah,
so it's great affection for
we're gonna have to rebaptize.
To be fair, though, I don't know why mom. I don't know why mom. So
I feel like because I was there that year, Gen 1, I remember that they called you mom.
Yeah,
but I don't know where it began.
Maybe because their mom was missing.
It might have
I
been.
filled the void.
It was beautiful.
You feel that maternal space.
Anyways, Icky, what's
how is this? I knew what this cast would be like. Before I pressed
Wait, sorry, what was our topic?
I want to publicly apologize. I knew exactly what this was going to be like.
This is the roast cast.
No. This is just the outtakes. This is all of it.
They're like, what? We've been watching these episodes and they were so great.
Yeah,
And then what happened?
Except for that one episode.
There's one episode that changed completely.
Icky, though, for real, what is one thing we need to know about you, though? Like one thing, like other than Sam being your favorite idol?
One thing, you know what? That I absolutely adore my wife and my kids.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
beautiful.
super blessed, man. They accidentally turned out right. I'm so grateful, man. I love being dad.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really amazing.
Well, guys, you've both had and I want to open up the team as well to ask you some questions, but each of you have had somewhat of a tiny history with the One Project, and you've kind of been around here or there with it. But could you share with us maybe your experience, how you've been involved, what you've done, the one or two gatherings you've partaken in?
Yeah. You first, Icky? You first?
Yeah, mine's a shorter history than yours. So
It's lengthy.
I think it was it 2011 or 10?
First one's 11.
11.
Yeah.
I had just finished up doing a week of prayer at Andrews University. Japhet was still there, and I didn't know Japhet, but he came to the week of prayer and he said, "Hey, brother, let me take you to eat."
Brother.
So we went to eat out one late night somewhere in Andrews where it was still open, and we just grew out we just had deep conversation. It was beautiful. And then at the end of the week, we were saying bye. It's the first time I'd ever met Jay, and he said, "Hey, brother, we're going to be meeting in February in Atlanta." I think it was Atlanta.
Yep.
And I'm just gathering a few people. A few of us are gathering together to talk about church and life and passions. Would you be interested in coming? And at that time I was pastoring in an urban space where we had planted down and we're doing activities, engagement in our community. And it was it's not lonely in the sense that our community was amazing. It was lonely in the sense that I didn't have sisters and brother.
You were kind of on an island as a
friends.
pastor.
Yeah.
That's
We were
hard.
doing things that nobody else was doing. And it was hard for the church to articulate these same kinds of values. And so I said I needed it. So sure. So I came out and I just kind of hung out in the background. And from that moment forward, I went home and told my wife, I said, "Hey, babe, we're going to go to this every year." And we have.
Wow.
So
That's
we
amazing.
went through our whole marriage. When we had kids, we brought them. This is always our trip together because of the language. I didn't ever have to speak at this to know this was the place I needed to be.
Wow.
That's really good. That's really
Amazing.
good.
That's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah.
Sam.
It's beautiful, Icky.
Thanks, Sam.
It feels like you've been with us since the beginning. Because you have. That's what it feels like. And you've traveled internationally, too, to speak at some of them, right?
No.
Oh, I thought you had.
Nope.
I'm so sorry. You should.
Oh,
we should have you. Sorry.
Hurts me a little bit.
He's like, you opened a wound.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you need to share now?
oh.
We're here for you.
You're looking at me like it's my turn. Is it my turn? Is this your cue?
No.
Okay, so
Yeah, we want to hear the history, bro.
Can I promote a different podcast on this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. So Tim and I did a full, 3 or 4 episodes on the One Project, how it started, our perspective of that on the Tim and Sam and Tim podcast.
I've listened to all of them actually.
You have?
because I love you.
It's a great podcast.
Oh,
And
wow.
Good
yeah,
podcast.
and it was awesome.
I feel this is
Listen to it. Tim and Sam and Tim.
this has been the most
Fanboys.
affirming few minutes. That's amazing.
We love you, bro.
Bro, I love you.
The love is strong.
The love, the agape is it agape philo?
30 minutes of
One
love.
of those. Man, so good. Sorry. Yeah, no. So my involvement has been, it goes to 2011, 10. We got together in 2010, the 5 of us. Actually, Japheth and I were talking about this this morning. Of the original group in Denver that got together, he and I are the only ones here this time.
Right.
So
the other two were Terry and Tim, right?
Terry and Tim and Danny Hernandez.
When he used to be in Florida.
Right. Yeah. So that was the gang in Denver. And I've been with the One Project. It's been our thing since 2010 through now.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Wow.
I've spoken at every one except for one round in Australia in 2014 or 15. I couldn't go. So, but other than that,
does that bother you? Like,
a lot.
Does it feel like
it's like you have
a lot? It's almost like the band chose like a hired position player to go on tour with. And they all remember that one as being the best time.
They always do, right? They always remember that's the best one.
Was that Australia?
Yeah.
Was it the one where Tim and Japheth were like on the bikes looking like
that's the one.
Yeah, I felt jealous too.
Kyle, that's the one.
You're gonna cut Sam pretty deep.
Literally.
Yeah.
Opening up
Thanks,
some
Kyle.
Hey, you know
Japheth
what?
was texting me during that one saying, "Brother, someday we will take you." Still hasn't happened.
You do the best Japheth. That's actually good.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Practices it.
Brother.
Because he puts Japheth into his ears at night when he goes to sleep.
Or I've just had so many phone calls from Japheth that have been very long and direct, and I needed them.
Interestingly enough, the only one project we missed was the one in Chicago. That was 2013. And the only reason why was because Mel was having Michaela, our eldest, at that time.
Yeah.
You're talking about
That's a good
U.S.
reason.
ones or in general?
The North American ones.
Okay.
Yeah, all the U.S. ones. We never did any of the international. That's too far. But usually there was one a year. Wow. And that was the one we missed because Michaela was being born. My daughter's born February 13th. So it's always
Literally.
very close to this time.
Annie and I kind of created a rhythm like that where we would either go to Atlanta in October. We've been to all of them since we went to the first one, but it would either be Atlanta or San Diego or something where we'd make a trip, like a family trip. And that's, for those of you listening, if you come, I think that's a really beautiful thing to do if you can, if you have the means, which we don't all have, but if you can create that time, it's really great to have a spiritual experience and to be able to just sit with it with your family.
Absolutely.
100%.
Icky and Sam, just as we haven't heard your sermon yet, Sam, and Icky, you preached now twice
He
at the
went
One
off.
Project. A
That seems a little
theme-
unfair, right? You haven't heard Sam preach once.
and yet we've heard you twice. I
great.
don't know how this happened.
I mean, to be fair, both were fantastic.
No, they absolutely,
So it's not like they were bad.
Thank
no.
you.
They were
But I
phenomenal.
feel like, Sam, what you're going to talk about, if we know how you share, everyone's been talking about loving everyone.
Yeah.
More than ever. It's been a common
Yeah,
theme.
it has been.
And
Absolutely.
so, Sam, if you can explain what you're going to preach about, but also Icky, behind your heart of it, like, why do you think now more than ever, today, 2025 in February, people need to hear to love all out, every single person beside you with no limits right now? Why do you think people need to hear this?
So, respectfully, I'm not going to speak on love anymore because Sam needs material for tomorrow. And I feel like
He doesn't believe in
I
you.
feel like I feel like every one of us has really been digging down on that, and Sam's he's gonna be like,
I got nothing less.
Stop talking about
Ditto.
love. That was my topic. That's exactly what I've been thinking.
That's Sam's
Every single one of you. Stop it.
Please stop.
So I'm really interested to hear what Sam's going to say.
Well, summarize. You're going to summarize what you talked about, or
Sure, yeah, Ken.
I'm not the host of this show, but
Well,
Yeah.
how about Sam explain what he wants to talk about, and then both of you comment on the need of it now.
Okay.
That's
Or
really
why
good, Ben.
everyone's been talking about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
okay. So the text that was assigned to me is Matthew 5:43-45. The love your enemies text.
My God.
In Matthew, it is a straight at the end of the. You want to hear some really fun things I've been thinking about as I study this text?
Please.
It is the last thing Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, and I think is because he knows that is the hardest.
Yeah. Ooh,
So he's leaving the
He's
most
like holding it
difficult.
off. Yes.
And he uses that. I'll give you two things that I'm going to talk about tomorrow. He uses, obviously, pastors, we get on this horse often, but I'm going to ride it tomorrow.
Right.
Agape. The word he used is agape, which is not a it's not a warm feeling word, it's an action word.
Yes.
So he's not saying you're supposed to feel warmly about your enemies.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We're supposed to act on their behalf.
Wow.
That's
And
really
then he
good.
uses the weather as evidence that God loves everybody.
Mm.
You know, the sun and the rain
Yeah.
on everybody.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how the word that I'm going to use, I don't even know if it exists. You tell me,
Okay.
you
Okay.
erudite,
I like this.
educated, enemify. We enemify
I love
Enemify.
people
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that,
take that.
and we need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We're
That's good.
inventing
Wow.
enemies.
You gotta pronounce that word right.
Did I do it? Did I do it right?
Yes.
You can sound.
It's
I
close.
just said it, and it was.
It was
I
not.
said
Yes.
it,
I heard
it's
it.
not.
We just
Yeah,
keep it. Don't go back to
Thank
listen
you.
to
No.
it. Keep it pouring.
Yeah.
Go
Keep pushing.
for it. Yeah.
That's good.
I'm sorry I just said that.
Enemy
That's
five.
good.
But that's
Enemy.
strong.
Enemify.
Enemy?
Enemy
Like
Yeah.
turning someone into an enemy.
Turning someone to an enemy.
process. Yeah.
By the way,
seeing
I'm
them as an
speaking
enemy
one
they don't
more
need to be.
time tonight. So now
Are
I'm going to
you?
use the rest of Sam's material.
You're gonna steal that word.
All
now,
of
Some
it.
aren't you?
people become your enemy because you make them, and then like Icky, they
They want to be.
alienate themselves from you by pulling this kind of thing right here. So,
They edify themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, you used it.
That's strong.
That's good. That's good.
Sam, I guess just to follow up, why do you think that's such an important and needed word today for the church?
Well, so one more thing I want to say tomorrow is that isn't it interesting that Jesus acknowledges that there's enemies? Because you'd
Right.
expect Jesus to say you shouldn't have enemies, but the very acknowledgement that there are people who don't like you and you don't like, or you're in conflict with,
Yeah.
disagreement with, it's something. What I think he says is that so he acknowledges the enemy thing, but then he says there are no limits in love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even those you consider enemies, and God considers some humans in opposition to Him and the enemies of God. You hear this language used throughout the Psalms. So I think your question is, why is this important now?
Yeah. In your opinion, perception, perspective.
I think Anthony knows, but he just wants you to say it, Sam.
Why do you think today?
I'm not trying to lead you anywhere. You can say whatever you want.
Leading question, Your Honor.
You know what? Instead of actually answering this directly, I'll say this: that we sometimes spiritualize this language. We're gonna love somebody because God's gonna work on their heart and they're gonna change. There's no promise of that.
Right.
Wow.
What there is a requirement from Jesus. It is a command, because this is how we demonstrate our faithfulness and our membership or our citizenship in the kingdom of God. This is how you're going to be different in the world, even if people don't change.
Wow.
This is the
That's a
requirement of the
word.
follower
Yeah.
of Jesus. So,
Dang.
at this hour, I think this is what is required of people who call themselves followers of Jesus more than ever. It is that we conduct ourselves like Jesus commands us to, regardless of whether the outcome is positive or not. This is how we live in the world.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh, that's so
Wow.
That's
I
really good.
have preached my sermon here right now. Maybe we can just record. Is this being recorded? Obviously, just play
It
tomorrow.
is. Yeah.
Maybe this could be just played tomorrow on the screen.
They don't want to see all of it. They can't see all
Yeah,
of it.
it's a lot. But a part of what I'm hearing you say, Sam, is first, right, we have to step out of a place of delusion, right? Sometimes we spiritualize things and it puts us in this delusional spot. And God's like, no, let's be honest about what the actual issue is.
Yeah.
And now that we're honest, let's do the work. That's a part of what I was hearing you say. For someone who is walking through that, what is a message of hope of how to live that out? What does that look like?
Yeah. Look, so since I'm telling you everything I'm going to say tomorrow, right? First, I want to qualify some things here.
Yeah.
There are people who have caused real damage, pain, abuse,
Yep.
etc.
Yeah.
And it is always something I like saying is that we can love the way Jesus commands us to, and also take a restraining order out.
Talk about it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We can do that, and that is the correct way to act and the way forward for healing to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be in opposition to Iki, what he was talking about last night, but I would love a dialogue about what reconciliation actually means.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
in my understanding of reconciliation, there needs to be two parties that agree to reconcile in order for there to actually for that to happen.
Correct.
So if one party's not willing to reconcile, then it's okay to limit contact.
100%.
Right.
I don't think Jesus said be a doormat.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
You think that might be why he spoke of like shaking the dust? We apply it spiritually as ministers, like to the gospel, but shaking the dust from your sandals.
most definitely, that refers to when you're in a village that refuses the gospel. And,
Is it applicable? I guess is what I'm asking.
I think so. It's a different context, but I think it's not Jesus giving up, but Jesus trying to be efficient, effective, keep sowing the seed where there's gonna be the most possibility for fruitful outcome. Don't we're not required to put ourselves in harm's way continuously and become victims. The
Correct.
victim language, the
Correct.
victim thing appears in my study of this text. No one's saying be a victim.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Jesus did not say that.
Correct.
So to the concrete, you were asking for what would you say to here's a concrete thing, I would say. We sometimes talk about feelings leading to action, but we need to reverse this because this is what Jesus is asking us to. Agape somebody as an act, and then you'll arrive at the change of heart that you want for yourself.
Act first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and what does he say? He says, pray. That's acting on behalf of somebody.
Correct.
Begin with that.
That's
And eventually your heart will change. But I'll guarantee you, because I've been through this a lot, there are people who I begin praying for, who I ask for swift judgment for and against first.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
real.
You're being honest, though.
Yeah.
That's real.
You know, that's true for relationships in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, the longer your relationship is, the longer your marriage is, the more you realize there's a sense of action that takes place because of love, even when you don't feel it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that butterfly infatuated thing kind of goes away, and yet there's like this deep sense of commitment to each other. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not as Hollywood pretty,
Yeah.
but that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
Friends, we could probably go on for hours.
Yeah.
But I want to just kind of land with one question, if that's okay. Or did you have something?
Nope.
You got the look in your eyes like you had wisdom.
No.
Okay.
Sam always has that look
He
in
does.
his eyes.
No,
I've
podcasted with Sam, and sometimes he's quiet, and then you look at him, and he just drops the bomb that melts. Okay. But genuinely, you're both here preaching, and that carries a certain burden with it and a certain responsibility. But apart from being a preacher here, what are you guys hoping to get out of this for yourselves? Like, what is this weekend for you? What are you trying to take home for you, for your heart?
This is a wonderful way to calibrate how I want to live in the world.
Yeah.
So whether I'm preaching or not, I'm going to show up because there's language here that we use that is so, it articulates like how I want to live my life. And I want it to be how my wife and I live our relationship, and my kids, how they relate to the gospel. Like, I think the church is still beautiful when we can do things like this. We can speak truth into reality, where we can recognize some of the ugliest parts of ourselves and some of the most beautiful parts of ourselves, and that all of it is redeemable by Jesus.
That's so good.
So it really matters. And like, the saying is Jesus, full stop, all full stop. But the implications of Jesus is so deep and profound that we can meet every year until eternity's finished.
Yeah.
And there will be something to talk about.
Absolutely.
Come on, Icky, that's good.
Yeah, that's why for me.
Good. I love being with all of you. There's such a beautiful resonance and comfort, and those tuning forks that you hit here at the One Project. It feels like the tuning fork is really humming.
Wow.
The people that that understand to get the gospel. Not that there's people all over the place that do, but just being with this group just feels,
Wow.
I love it. Yeah.
And a lot of that, not to flatter both of you, but it's you both have poured into this community, and you both have helped shape that. And so thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks for creating space.
very much.
And we hope that those of you who are listening feel like we have also created space for you. Because we don't just want you to see the One Project. We want the One Project and even this podcast Margins really to feel like you had a seat at the table and that you belong. And so our question now for you who's listening is, you've listened to us, but in the theme of this weekend, are you willing to listen to him? So we leave you with that. And we can't wait to see you on the next one. With that, we'll catch you next time.